Switch for an in-house counsel role. Great, great, awesome. What are you doing currently, Pratiksha? Previously, advocate with 1 year court experience in Delhi. Want to join in-house counsel. Job, Ayushi, 4th year LLB. Great, great. We have a great number of people today. Awesome. So Rizwan is here first time. Okay. Awesome. So we'll get started with our today's presentation. So those of you who don't know me, I'm Ramanuj Mukherjee from LawSikho. I'm the CEO at LawSikho, and I have been doing a series of webinars on IP law, paralegal work related to IP law, law firm work related to paralegal related to IP law. Today we are going to talk about in-house counsel work related to IP law and what kind of skills you need, what you have to do, right? So shall we begin? Say yes if you want me to get started. Just to know we are all ready. Hi Divya. Let's go. Okay, you're all ready. All right. So we are going to talk about IP challenges in technology companies and what kind of skills are needed to solve this technology. IP challenges in these technology companies. And why technology companies are important? Because today technology is one of the largest sector of work, right? There is just tons of technology work out there, and starting with Facebook, Google, Amazon, like some of the largest companies in the world, Apple, right, and Netflix and so on. So really large technology companies. They are some of the best employers, right? They pay the best. They have the best parks. Everyone wants to work at Google because of the great parks there. Also, you get tremendous good brand name and very interesting work in these large companies, right? And not only just large companies, there are a whole lot of different companies. So there are biotechnology companies, there are e-commerce companies, right? Flipkart, Amazon, of course. And there are so many e-commerce companies today. Just today, I wanted to order some, food, and I couldn't find it in the local store. So I looked for apps, and I had to download 2 different apps to order stuff. And different apps had different food. It's crazy. Like there are so many different types of apps these days, and e-commerce stores of so many varieties, right? It's just crazy. Somebody's delivering milk, somebody's delivering different kinds of meats, fish, vegetables, and all sorts, right? So e-commerce is a major area. And then there are direct to consumer brands. There are so many different tech companies, right? So what are their IP challenges and what kind of skills are needed for lawyers to work for these kind of companies, right? That's what we're talking about today. So one thing that we need to look for when you're looking for what skills to learn, if you're smart, you want to respond to the requirements in the market, right? You want to build skills which have a big demand and less supply, right? Why do you want to build skills which have big demand and not so much supply? Any idea? Anyone? Why would that be important? Your demand increases. Simple. You can make more money. You can have faster career progress, less competition. Okay. So what would happen if there is less demand and lot of supply? Okay. There is a skill for which there is less demand and lot of supply. What will happen? Your payment will be reduced, right? So if your company, even if you already have a job and your company is basically paying you a lot of money, so they will look to cut costs by firing you and hiring somebody cheaper, right? And if you're looking for a job, then they'll offer you less because they can find many people. But when the opposite happens, that there is a huge demand for the skill for which you already have, right? And they are looking to hire somebody with that skill, and the demand in the market is very less, what will happen? So can you think of some things in the non-law things, or maybe law things, I don't know, like some skills which have huge demand in the market and not enough supply? Can you give me examples? Anybody knows anything like this? Come on, quick, give me an example. Come on. Waiting to hear from you. Do we have anybody smart enough here to answer this question? Training of practical skills. Sure, training of practical skills have what? There is big demand for it and very less people who can give you practical training, right? Hardly any offers. Like LawSikho almost have a monopoly on it. I don't think anybody trains on practical skills, right? So we can charge more and you guys have to pay if you want to learn, right? There is no option, but that is true. Okay, what else? Creativity. Give me more examples, Hiral. Give me specific examples of skills for which there is a very high demand. I'll give you an example. Okay, for example, there is a great demand for people who have machine learning and artificial intelligence coding, like, right? So software developers who can work on artificial intelligence projects and machine learning projects and robotics projects. There are very few people who can do that, right? So there is a great demand for such people, right? So anybody else? I'm still waiting. Quick. You can't think of any example where the demand is high and supply is low. Are you serious? There are like 25 of you here and you can't think of one thing. Blockchain, Rishabh. Okay. Why is everyone quiet? Why is everyone quiet? Okay, let me check if anybody is saying anything on YouTube. There are people watching this on YouTube. Patent engineering. What is patent engineering? Patent engineering, Shashank, what is patent engineering? What do you mean by that? Marketing skills. That's true, Jagannath. There are very few people with good marketing skills. Cyber experts. Cyber security is a good example of this. Okay. So, okay, good legal research. Okay, cool. At least you are giving me some ideas now. Technology contract lawyer. Yes, sure. Good. Finally, you're getting some answers. We are not talking about patent exam today, money. Sorry. Space lawyers. Yeah. So space lawyers is a very good, interesting situation. There's not much, supply for space lawyers. But is there a demand for space lawyers? Even the demand is low, right? So if demand is low and supply is low, then what happens? Then still you don't make money, right? How to deal with failure in startups. Maritime law. What is Martin law? Rishabh, maritime. Maritime law has less demand. That's true. Okay. Okay, cool. So let's get back to our presentation, right? So you guys are getting an idea. So we are going to try and while we are doing our presentation today, I want you to think that what are the things. See, like somebody saying medical law also same situation. There is not too much demand for medical law work in India. In the US, on the other hand, there is a lot of work in medical law, medical negligence. But in India, medical negligence cases are rather rare. They don't get filed much. So that definitely is an issue. Not enough demand. Or supply is also low, but demand is also low. So if demand is low, supply is low, that's not that great a situation for you. What you want is that there should be very high demand for that service and very low supply. Okay, higher the demand and lower the supply, better for you, right? That is one thing. The other thing is that what you are looking for, you want, okay, if demand is high and supply is high, then still okay. I mean, it's not that bad. But if supply is high and demand is lower than supply, then you are screwed, because then you have no job security, you can't earn much money, big problem, right? So you have to keep in mind that we live in a capitalistic society, and this is the only productive society where you can get rich, right? So, but at the same time, you can get rich if you follow the law of demand and supply. Okay, so basically you have to look for things which have a lot of high demand but supply is low. Okay, so you are looking for clients with unresolved problems in large volumes. Okay, so if you can find clients who have a lot of problems in large volumes and these problems are not getting solved, then that's very good news for you. Okay, and those valuable problems for are actually it's a valuable enough problem for that client that they're ready to pay money, right, to solve that problem. Then it is really worth your time, and you want to focus your career on such things. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about such clients and such problems today. Okay, so first one is e-commerce, the fastest growing industry in India. So who can guess? Data privacy laws, sure, good. But now who can guess in e-commerce what are the unresolved problems that are there, like bulk unresolved problems, huge issues people are facing, they need a solution? What could be such things? Who can say? So this one is right, data privacy law is a concern. What else? But don't talk about laws, talk about problems they're facing. Anupam Mandal, fake products, very good. Fake reviews, very good. Contract agreement is not a problem. Think of a problem that a client has, right? Fake reviews is a problem. Fake products is a problem, right? Defective products, high number of returns, right? High number of complaints, that's a problem. Disputes between purchaser seller happening all the time, problem. Fraud, okay. No easy returns. No easy returns is happening. No? Returning products are very easy on Amazon, everywhere. Okay, one problem they have is that when something goes wrong, people are filing consumer cases very easily, and that's a huge problem. Imagine you bought something worth 5,000, 10,000, and you're filing a consumer case because something went wrong, right? It is a huge problem for them. They have to hire a lawyer, they have to fight it. Imagine you file a case on consumer complaint in some small district. Now they have to fight that case, hire a lawyer there. Trademark violation, grievance redressal, transaction failure, no reliability. No reliability of who? Ayushi, kiska reliability? Whose reliability you're talking about? I faced issues with returns in some not very well-known sites. So yeah, so then you are used to like Amazon giving great services, Flipkart giving great services, and then you want to return. Fraud by e-commerce delivery agents, yes, very good, very good. So these are some of fraud by now see, you guys are all on the way to become entrepreneurs, all on the way to become successful lawyers. You know why? Because you are thinking of problems, and now you'll think that, okay, how can I solve this problem at scale for a lot of clients, right? And if you think like this, by the way, you don't even have to be an entrepreneur. When you're applying for jobs, you need to think like this before your interview. When you're applying, you need to think like this before writing your application. Okay, you need to say that, okay, these are the problems and I can solve these problems. This is how I'll solve. And that's the brilliant thing about you being a very good lawyer. Okay, this is what will make you stand out. Okay, very good. Okay, now I'm going to tell you about more problems. What are the problems in, you have done a very good job, told me a lot of problems that people face, but there are other things as well. Okay, let's see what are those things. So from IBF stats, undoubtedly e-commerce industry is growing at an incredible velocity of 51% year on year. Okay, fueled by rising broadband and smartphone penetration, growth of 4G network, and the increasing purchasing power of Indian consumers, the Indian e-commerce market is expected to grow to US $200 billion by 2026. Okay, so it's growing like anything. India's internet economy is expected to double from US $150 billion as of April 2017 to US $250 billion by 2020, backed primarily by e-commerce. Okay, that's a very good growth rate, very fast growth rate. India's e-commerce revenue is expected to jump from $39 billion in 2017 to $120 billion in 2020, growing at an annual rate of 51%, the highest in the world. So our e-commerce industry is fastest growing in the world. Very good news. Okay, so they are growing so fast, but at the same time their legal headaches are also exploding. There are too many headaches they have, and what are these headaches? We are going to study now, right? Because these are your opportunities to succeed in your legal career. Cyber security. So what is the problem of cyber security in these things in e-commerce? Who can tell me? Come on, guys. Apply your brains. Okay, write in the chat. I'm giving you a minute. I'm giving you a minute to write about this. Think about it. Google it. Even better. Google. Take a minute. See, I want you to develop a habit of, not just taking my spoon-fed information. And the first thing that comes to your mind, actually do a little bit of research. Even if you Google for like 2 minutes, you can find a lot of issues. So just Google cyber security problems faced by e-commerce companies. Google this, read for 2-3 minutes. I'm giving you 3 minutes. Okay, I want you to research this and write in the chat. What can you think of? That what are the, just Google, just take this as an exercise. Okay, what are the problems? Okay, I got you're saying breach of privacy, data privacy, fraud, money laundering, whatever. But cyber security problems, Google this and try to find out what are the top 10 problems for an e-commerce company in terms of cyber security. Like you are not realizing. For example, I am giving you an example. One of the top threat is hacking of payment gateways. Payment gateways are getting hacked. Okay, and then huge amounts like 10 crore rupees stolen from a payment gateway overnight. That kind of hacking is happening. Okay, and then what do you do as a e-commerce company, because you are handling this huge huge amount of money at a time, right? Malware, phishing attacks, all sorts of things. So Google this cyber security challenges in e-commerce. What cybersecurity challenge e-commerce companies are facing, and I want good answers. 3 minutes. Your time starts now. It's 9:28. I'll be back. I'm going to leave you alone for 3 minutes. Quick. Okay. Let's see what answers we have got here. Let's start from the beginning. Cybernetic cybercrime. What is cybernetic cybercrime? Security software download in PC. I didn't understand this at all. Stealing of account information, username and password to gain admin access. Okay. Cloud jacking, cloud computing, misconfiguration. Okay. Middleman attack, interception, skimming, identity theft, IoT threats, state-sponsored threats, cryptojacking, phishing attacks. Most common threat is credit card fraud. Fake advertisements, fake links sending and stealing data. Very good. Biometric data misuse. Ransomware, cloud vulnerabilities, patch management, third-party exposure, price scraping. Okay, so the biggest problems are definitely related to fraud. Okay, where scams and hacking, right? Unauthorized access of different kinds. So anyway, you guys have done a good job of looking up the right kind of things. Dedicated denial of service. Yeah, this is also a huge issue. Ransomware is a huge issue. Identity theft is a huge issue, right? And obviously, stealing money through identity theft is a big issue, right? So these are things that are keeping very large companies awake at night. Like for payment gateway companies, the biggest challenge is this: how are they going to secure their their servers? How are they going to secure their system? It's like they're always fighting a kind of battle of wits with the hackers who are trying to hack them, and they are trying to stop it from happening. And definitely disruption, distributed denial of service. So these are very big challenges for them. Okay, so next, let's go to the next one. Okay, fraudulent transactions, right? Fraudulent transactions are of different types. So for example, you are offering a discount or some kind of a scheme, and then people are trying to do fraudulent transactions to claim benefits of that. That's one example, but there are many others like that. Okay, of all sorts, which can cause a lot of substantial loss to these companies at times. Okay, fraudulent claims are a big problem, because a lot of people have figured out that they can just go and make false claims on the social media. They can make false claims even in the consumer court, and they'll get some orders without even like having any proof, or just causing disruption. So there are a whole lot of problems that e-commerce companies are facing today in India. Statutory compliances, licenses and permits, of course. So this can be a big problem. Like we saw during the pandemic, how e-commerce companies to function, first of all, they were told that, okay, you can only deliver the essentials and nothing else, if you remember, right? And then there was like, okay, your delivery people have to have a license to deliver, like a permit to go around on the streets. Do you remember this happening? Yeah. A lot of lawyers made a lot of money at that time helping these e-commerce companies to get delivery boys licenses from local authorities. Okay, because every state, every city had police had given like separate different licenses and permits, and you had to get that to keep your fleet of delivery boys functional. And even it was a huge challenge to make the transfer from one state to another state and all of that, because entire supply chain had collapsed. So even the supply chain is a huge issue. Okay, there is a huge supply chain happening to keep e-commerce running across the country, and if the supply chain does not work, then there is no money to be made. Okay, and big issue, like, for the e-commerce company. There's such a $1 billion business is going on, but it's all banking on a huge transport system and supply chain. Okay, so this is also an issue, and there's a statutory compliance at every step. Like warehouses need statutory compliances, the transportation companies or transportation whatever, there has to be, like, local taxes. A lot of different issues are there. What time they can fly. So a huge amount of planning goes into this, and a huge amount of legal issues go into this. Customer data protection, because you are holding a huge, this is actually one of the biggest problems they're facing today, because you must have read, like recently White Hat Junior, I last read that their data was exposed on Academy, their data was, client data was exposed, like millions of people's data was stolen. Same thing happened with so many other companies, right? And hackers are regularly exploiting this and hacking into the data of these companies. Customer data being stolen, passwords being stolen, usernames being stolen, sensitive data being stolen, and it's a huge issue. And it's an issue that is not so much in India yet, because we don't have a law that punishes anything like this. But going forward, we expect a law to come into place, which will make it a much bigger issue. Like GDPR, if you look at it. So, for example, if you're GDPR compliant, you're dealing with European clients, European data subjects, then if there is such a breach, then you have to report it to the European Data Commission, and there's a whole lot of problem that can arise. You can be fined, you can be summoned, you can be asked a lot of difficult questions about why you have these kind of breaches happening in the first place, right? So very difficult situations you will be facing if that happens. Okay, cool. So so you guys are on board so far. If you are understanding, you're with me, just say yes so that we can move to the next phase. If you have any questions or till here, you can ask the questions. Anyone? Nothing? Nobody? What's going on? YouTube, people who are watching, please respond. Yes, Ayushi, Tarun, Divya, Shivangi, Pratibha. Okay, great. So you guys are with me. So I'm moving to the next one. Brand protection and fake goods. So you guys, obviously, many of you pointed this out in the beginning itself. Brand protection and fake goods is a very, very big concern. So imagine you're an e-commerce company and somebody comes and says that, hey, I am here selling Adidas shoes or Nike t-shirts. How do you know that whether you have a license to sell this or not? Whether this is a, so Adidas and Nike are still famous ones, and there are so many others. So somebody goes and says to Amazon, I want to sell LawSikho t-shirts. Now, how will Amazon know whether you own the trademark of LawSikho or not, right? So major issues are there, and fake goods, gray market goods, these things are causing a whole lot of disruption in e-commerce because they get sued by the original brand owners, right? So if, for example, if 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗀𝗲 is going to start selling LawSikho coffee mugs on Amazon, I come to know, then I might sue Amazon for passing off or trademark violation, and then Amazon will be answerable. They'll have to send a lawyer to the court, spend money, right? So there's a lot of problem around this, and it also leads to loss of faith, loss of customer faith in the company, right? So it's very bad for their brand. So this is a very, very huge issue. Has it happened to you that you have bought a mobile or a laptop and from Paytm or Amazon, and then you did not get any services, like there was no warranty and there are a lot of problems? Did it happen to you ever? If it happened to you, just say yes, it happened in the chat. And then you may actually go and file a consumer case, right, against the company. So that can create a lot of issues. So you guys faced, anybody faced, what situation did you face? Can you quickly tell me on the chat? Example is Freedom 250 on mobiles. Yeah, of course. Right? Anything else you can think of where you faced a problem? Boat bike company. Okay. defective product, okay, right? And then you did not get proper services, right? This also happens. So next one is enforcement of online contracts. So they are entering into all, see, with customers, if a contract is not enforced, it's not a big deal, right? You are supposed to pay 2,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees and you did not pay, whatever. Anyway, they take money from you upfront before sending you anything. So with end customer, it's not so much of a problem with e-commerce companies, but they are also signing e-contracts with all their other the sellers, right? So, and sometimes with the sellers they have huge deals going on, and the exposure can be very large, can run into millions of dollars sometimes. But if there is later on a problem like all these defective products and all these issues, and then they get sued, or there can be real consequences of this, especially if they're not able to enforce the contracts. And there are a lot of problems with enforcing contracts in India. There are questions such as on online contracts, e-contracts, usually any stamp duty is not being paid. So do you have to pay stamp duty on e-contracts? How do you pay it, right? So if you have not paid, then what happens next? So there are a bunch of challenges, right? Can't these e-commerce websites add an arbitration clause for dispute arising from sales, right? So even they so for consumers, arbitration clause will not stand, because it has been already decided by Supreme Court of India that consumer law will prevail. So consumers can go to consumer court even if there is an arbitration clause. So there it will not help at all, Anupam, but it will help in case of sellers, right? But even then, arbitration is not exactly cheap. It is not exactly very easy in India. If you go to arbitration, people drag you to court, nonetheless 10 times. Okay, so there are a whole lot of, this is also a big area of problem. Now online arbitration is giving them some hope, and that remains to be seen how well that works. Like all the online vendors are trying to get into online arbitration, cheap cost effective arbitration, but so far there are not much of a breakthrough that has happened. Okay, so another big area of challenge for them is global tax compliance, import export, customs regime, because you imagine a lot of e-commerce is happening across the border. So you are buying, let's say, some coffee from another country, or you're buying some cosmetics from UK or from Korea, or you're buying some I don't know, some handicrafts from Africa. Can happen, right? Today people have that kind of reach, and a lot of global e-commerce is happening. Like I bought some really amazing shoes from Hong Kong, and these shoes are like, I can walk in water wearing these shoes, and I was very enamored by these shoes, and I saw advertisements and I bought this. But when I bought it, I realized it's coming from Hong Kong, and it took ages to come, right, to arrive, and it was stuck in customs for some time. So all these companies have really huge issues in customs, getting things cleared by customs and paying taxes. So a bunch of issues are happening right now around these issues. Okay. So investment regulations, FDI regulations, these are also problems they're facing, because for a long time there are a lot of restrictions on investing in multi-brand retail, on e-commerce, and even now there are a lot of restrictions on them. A lot of rules about what you can do, what you cannot do as a marketplace. So there are FDI regulations. Logistics and warehousing contracts and compliances. So this is also very important, right? So I mean, you can imagine that as an e-commerce company, you are sending, let's say, a TV, an LCD TV, which costs 2 lakh rupees, or you're sending a laptop, even an Apple MacBook can cost 2.5 lakhs, and which you are transporting through a logistics company. Who takes responsibility if it gets damaged? Who takes responsibility if it gets stolen? Who takes responsibility if it is lost on the way, right? So logistics and warehousing contracts and compliances, and this is also a huge issue and challenge for all these companies. Okay, so let's see what keeps them busy from an IP law perspective. These are general stuff, but specifically IP law perspective. Cross-border trademark and copyright protection. So to give you an example, so maybe somebody in China starts selling Adidas shoes, right? But it's not real Adidas. And so Adidas in the US, Germany, India have to now figure out how to stop this thing from crossing the border, coming into India or coming into any other country, because they may not be able to enforce the IP in China, or maybe they'll be able to enforce it in China. But cross-border trademark and copyright protection has become very, very important, because since, somebody may start selling a product in some other country from Ghana or wherever, and they'll manage to sell it online and make a dent in your market share, unless you can take action, unless you can stop that import or export, and a lot of things, right? So these are all challenges. You have to take down their websites, you have to take down those products from online, you have to file cases, you have to, a bunch of stuff you have to do. And lawyers are doing this all the time, fighting online piracy, fighting online breach of trademark, online breach of copyright. Okay, gray market, fake and counterfeit goods. So this is also another problem online. These are being sold, and you have to understand that these are not always being sold on Amazon or eBay or established websites. Sometimes people are using Facebook groups to sell this. Facebook groups are notorious for trademark and copyright violation all the time, design violation. People have entire Telegram groups where they are doing this. Like entire Telegram groups exist for sales of gray market goods. Can you imagine, right? So this is a problem. So there are people infiltrate. There are lawyers literally have a system to infiltrate such groups and catch them and figure out, investigate how it is happening, and then catch them, right? No less. So there are people who are actually working on investigation of IP infringement and investigation. Not only there are raids, also IP raids, liability of platforms and intermediaries, and good faith actions, right? So as a platform, you have some protection. As an intermediary, you have some protection. For example, if on YouTube I copy a movie and upload it, right? So YouTube will not be immediately liable. So the copyright owner of the movie can give a notice to YouTube, and once YouTube receives the copyright, YouTube will take down that video, and this way the copyright infringement will be prevented. Okay, but if maybe 1 million people watched it while it was online, and that is not responsibility of YouTube. You cannot sue YouTube or claim damage from YouTube for this. YouTube is a platform, and they have intermediary protection that random people are coming and uploading stuff on our website, but if you report to us, we'll take action and we'll take it down. So as long as we are doing that, it is okay. Would it be soliciting of us services to identify the original creator of these counterfeit products on these groups? See, you are a lawyer, Bijal, and you can find out ways of providing. This is not a strictly legal service. So you can create a company to provide an investigation service or a brand monitoring service. There are companies which are providing brand monitoring online. Okay. So you can create a brand monitoring service and do this. So you absolutely can do this. It's an unsolved problem which people have in large numbers, and this problem is only about to increase. So if you can find out a way to fight this menace, then companies will hire you, they'll pay you. It's just great. Okay, it's fantastic. Like what you're thinking in the right direction. Okay. So and also you have to help the e-commerce companies to come up with mechanisms to deal with complaints, to how to take these good faith actions, when to take things down, when not to take things down. Because a lot of time there may be a false claim by somebody. So you have to develop a mechanism, and you have to have qualified people in your team who can understand a proper claim and a false claim and differentiate between them and take the right actions. Okay. Registration of new e-commerce brand, as there is a brand explosion. So today there are a lot of brands out there which did not exist. So I give an example of coffee. So what is the one brand of coffee that you know very well? We'll come to online reputation management also. So what is one brand of coffee that you know really well? Starbucks. Okay. Okay. Any. So not coffee shop, but coffee when you are buying. Nescafe, right? So Nescafe is very famous. Brew is also Nescafe's brand, I think. Right? Brew also is Nescafe, from what I remember. But these are really big brands. Now today you have a lot of coffee companies out there. Blue Toka is one, and Tata Coffee, I don't know, but there are like hundreds of artisanal coffees, right? And Araku Valley Coffee, Green Valley Coffee. There are so many, like, companies which are making great coffee, and they have fans, people who are ordering them online. These are called direct to consumer companies. Okay, there are many direct to consumer companies who are selling their goods directly on their online platforms, and you are directly going and buying in from there. So and this has happened in the last 2-3 years. It started in the US with a company called Dollar Shave Company. Then there was a mattress company called there's a mattress company called Casper's, which was very famous, and they did a direct to consumer. They started a direct to consumer thing. Earlier it was like, if you want to sell something, then you go to the supply chain. You are a producer of something, maybe you are a manufacturer, maybe you are the brand, and then you sell it to the supply chain. So it goes to a stockist, the stockist gives it to a distributor gives it to a retailer, and this is how it spreads into the whole market, right? But that is not happening anymore. Okay, now you have actually people who are directly selling it, bypassing this entire supply chain, and they're directly selling it on, and they're directly selling it on some kind of website, or they're selling it through other channels like direct email, on LinkedIn advertisements, Instagram advertisements, Facebook advertisements. And as a result of this, they are able to reach the consumer directly and bypassing the entire supply chain and saving a lot of money in the process. So they are very attractive. Okay. So because of this, what is happening is that there is an explosion of brands. There are a whole new set of brands. Earlier, there used to be one big brand or two big brand or five big brands. But now you have like so many different brands which are coming up. So can you think of any direct to consumer brands that you see a lot of advertisements of, or you purchase something from them? Can you think of anything quickly? Anything comes to your mind? Anyone who's listening? Sandy, Anupam, Hiral, Dia. Can you think of something? Nobody? 𝗲𝗵 tea. Yeah, very good. 𝗲𝗵 tea. Even I have seen this. I bought this. Very good, Diksha. Anybody else can think of a direct? Wake Fit for mattress. Sleepy Cat for mattress. Ecom candle. Right. Very good. So we are getting somewhere. So these are brands you can see all the time. There are advertisements running on 𝗵𝗹𝗀𝗀𝗀 brand of t-shirts and other stuff, right? My Protein. So these are direct to consumer brands. Now what is happening is that where there was one brand, now there are 100 brands today. Okay, so you have so many brands. So now all these brands, when you are on internet, you have to register yourself. You have to have your trademark registered, otherwise other people can simply copy you and you can't do anything about it, right? So whenever you have all these online businesses, they have to register their trademark. It is very, very important to protect themselves, right? So there is a brand explosion and e-commerce. These are all e-commerce companies, right? So trademark opposition work. So trademark opposition work is that, say somebody is trying to register a trademark. I'll give an example, very famous example. Zomato. Do you know what was Zomato? Was not the initial name. Zomato started in a different name. What was the name of Zomato before it became Zomato? Do you know? It was called 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗀. 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗶. Okay. So 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗶. Do you actually know, like, what was the problem with 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗶? Can you guess what copyright what trademark problem 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗀 ran into? Can you guess? Diya? Anybody? eBay, right. So they ran into a problem with eBay because eBay already had trademark on the name eBay, and 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗶 sounds like food ka eBay, right? eBay of food. So they had to change their name because they could not get a copyright like this, right? Whiskers, I don't know. Food Panda? No, Food Panda was not Zomato's name before. Okay, so basically, if you're a brand, then you want to be careful that somebody else is not registering a trademark which is too similar to yours. You need to, stop them from registering, right? So that you don't have more problem later on. So trademark opposition work is a lot of work in e-commerce. Trademark infringement notices and suits. So all the time, imagine that Vadam tea is selling tea and it has a reputation, or Nescafe has a reputation. All the other companies decide whenever somebody searches Nescafe on Google, I will run an ad using the trademark Nescafe. So can I do that? Every time somebody searches Nescafe, can I show an ad using that trademark name? Okay. So there are a lot of cases in India and abroad that has happened. And now, if somebody is doing that, you will probably want to send them a legal notice saying that, sorry, this is a misuse of our trademark. You can't run ads on our trademark, right? And trademark infringement can happen if somebody is selling the same product on a website. Somebody is selling the same, using our brand name on Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, wherever, right? So that can be a trademark infringement. So sending notices to them, very important, right? All the time. Passing off suits. Anybody knows what is a passing off suit? What is happening in a passing off suit? No? A passing off suit is when you don't have a trademark. Okay, people on Upwork and Fiverr share their contact, and people looking for work directly contact them, so they don't have to pay the commission to the website anymore. Yeah, these kind of problems are also there. But what is the reason Upwork are not bothered about is that if you try to work directly with your clients without outside of Upwork, very soon you'll realize that a lot of people will make you do the work and they are not paying you. But if you do the work through Upwork, then there is a escrow service. So you have much better systems if you do it through Upwork and you don't do it directly, right? So what if they waste your time? What if they don't deliver? So a lot of issues are there. So people try to get work done through Upwork or through Fiverr rather than outside to save 10%, 20% of fees. This is the reason. Okay. So you have to be really conjuice and dumb to do it outside Upwork to save that whatever 20% money. Okay. Because it can cost you more otherwise, or you may lose all your 80%. So that's one thing. But yeah, I mean, they can also take action against people who are doing this if they have any proof for that matter, right? So passing off suit is when your trademark is not registered, but still if somebody is selling something of the same name, right? So even then you can, without going into trademark law, under common law, under tort law, in fact, passing off is a tort, and you can file a case of passing off against them. Okay. So this is one more type of work that is happening a lot in the world of e-commerce today. Copyright infringement action to protect content. So maybe you have a brochure, maybe you have a video to describe your product, maybe you have something, and then your competitor starts copying it. They're like, why to come up with our own content? Let's just copy from Anupam, right? So then that will not be legal. That will be copyright infringement, and this is a very common phenomenon. People are copying website, people are copying designs, people are copying trade dress, and you have to file cases, copyright infringement, trademark infringement, to protect your content all the time. Okay, so are these unresolved pain points? What do you guys think? Are these unresolved pain points of e-commerce companies? Yes, no, maybe? Yes? Yeah. So these are problems that e-commerce companies are facing, and you are knowledgeable. If you know how to do this work, then it will be a huge advantage. Okay, so we have a lot of things left today. We need to move really fast now. Okay, another area of work that is there is digital media. Okay, digital media companies, it's also an industry that is one of the fastest growing segment within the media sector, and it's causing, what is causing this exponential growth, and why can we be sure that this growth will continue in the years to come? Here are the rock solid factors. Okay, expansion of mobile internet access and growing connection speeds, the increasing number of mobile and streaming devices, steady growth in investment, high performing and addictive high performing and addictive content. You can see Netflix is so addictive, Amazon Prime content is so addictive, right? So it is growing, and this is why these sectors are growing. Increasing prosperity in Asian countries, including India, which led to an explosion of demand for knowledge, culture, and entertainment. This is why YouTube is growing the fastest in Asia than any other place. Digital media is very ROI driven, highly efficient, easily accessible, and has lowest cost of distribution compared to, say, movie or CDs or whatever. Digital media is amazing for media business. What are the unresolved pain points that relate to IP law of digital media, right? Digital media companies are tech companies. So what are their problems? Brand protection, online reputation management, IP infringement, piracy remain some of the biggest concerns of this industry. Lack of access to specialized contract drafting and negotiation services at a reasonable price point is also another pain point, because digital media industry needs a lot of contracts all the time, and these are media contracts, content development contracts, and a whole list of these are there, and they really need help. There is an area of focus if you want to solve this industry. Registration of trademark and copyright. I don't need to say anything about this, right? Trademark prosecution. So do you know what is trademark prosecution? Dia, what is trademark prosecution? Ayushi, what is trademark prosecution? Do you know? No idea? You know what is trademark prosecution, Hiral? Okay. So trademark prosecution is, it's not infringement. Okay. So trademark prosecution is when you are applying for a trademark, and there is a process that happens with the trademark office, right? So the trademark office might so somebody has responded, Jagannath has explained. Trademark prosecution and procedure in India involves stages of filing, examination, publication of advertisement, opposition, registration, renewal. So essentially, when you are filing, so you're trying to register your trademark, you go to the trademark registry, then a lot of interaction can happen. For example, the trademark officer can put an objection to your registration, saying that, no, I think this name is too generic, or it is too similar to somebody else, and blah, blah. So then you have a lawyer, or you yourself can respond to that objection. Apart from objection, there can be a bunch of things like opposition and renewals and examination and so on, right? Publication. So all of these is trademark prosecution work that is done by lawyers. Okay. Trademark and copyright infringement litigation. So that is obvious. There's a lot of trademark and copyright infringement litigation happening in the digital media sector. Licensing, franchising, merchandising contracts, media contracts related to production, distribution, financing of media projects and joint ventures, IP due diligence during investments and acquisition, online reputation management. Somebody was talking about this earlier, right? Okay, so now I'm going to tell you about tech companies, right? So there are three types of tech companies. Achha, online reputation management, you guys know. I maybe say a few words about this before I move ahead. Anybody knows what is online reputation management? So imagine that you can go and write anything about a brand online, right? So a lot of people are writing really horrible things online about the brand. which may be incorrect, which may be defamatory, right? And then a lot of people are writing fake reviews against their competitors. Imagine there are two restaurants. One restaurant paid some people that please go and write really bad reviews for the other restaurant and put it down, right? So what do they do? So obviously lawyers can help in such situations through trademark, through copyright law, through trademark law, and through defamation law. So so these are things that are done, and there's a lot of work, right? The work is just exploding in that category. Online reputation management is exploding. There's too much work. Okay. Defamation case of Whitehead Jr. For example, Whitehead Jr. filed some defamation cases. In my opinion, they should have been filing cases much earlier. They were too slow in filing. But anyway, that's my opinion, doesn't matter, right? But if somebody is writing, it depends also, right? So that strategy of different companies, but I felt that they would have benefited from a quicker action, but then they might be having other issues. I don't know the internal stuff, what is going on. So let's move on. Tech is such a big sector today that it is hard to put them all in together in the same basket. So there are three types of companies I'm going to tell you about. Okay, it makes sense to bunch them together because their IP law needs are very similar. Okay, so there are three types of companies. Okay, can you guess what are the three types of companies? Anybody can guess? One is deep tech companies. You have already seen the screen, right? One is a deep tech company. What are the other types of companies? Anybody quickly tell me? Nobody knows. Okay, deep tech is one. I'm going to tell you the second one. Okay, though these can be software or not, but one is a deep tech company. Okay, the second is a consumer tech company, not biotech, not software, but a consumer tech company. A consumer tech company is consumer facing. They are making technology for the consumption of consumers directly. So that is the second type. What can be the third type then? Deep tech, consumer tech. Third will be what? Guess. Fintech. No, fintech is also consumer tech. No, PayPal is consumer tech used by consumers. So what is the third one? Anybody can guess? Consumer, B2C, then B2B, right? So consumer facing and then business facing. What would be business facing? Enterprise software, enterprise tech. Okay, so three type of companies: deep tech, consumer tech, enterprise tech. Okay, now I'm going to tell you about these three types of companies and what are their issues. First, let's deal with deep tech companies. So what are the deep tech companies? And then deep tech companies have a lot of IP work, okay. So what is deep tech? So let me explain. Typically startup company with the expressed objective of providing technology solutions based on substantial scientific or engineering challenges. They present challenges requiring lengthy research and development and large capital investment before successful commercialization. The primary risk in a deep tech or hard tech company is technical risk, while market risk is often overlooked due to the potential value of the solution to society. The underlying scientific or engineering problems being solved by deep tech and hard tech companies generate valuable intellectual property and are hard to reproduce. This is copied from Wikipedia. Okay, so they are saying that, clearly saying that basically deep tech companies survive because of intellectual property. All they are trying to do by deploying all these millions of dollars of capital is to create valuable intellectual property which they will sell later, mostly patents, right? They're creating technology which is patentable. So it is but obvious that these companies, I'm working for Snapper Future Tech, blockchain development company in patent filings. Very nice, Anupam, very nice. Okay, health tech is an example of deep tech. Yes, so a biotechnology company is a deep tech company. So what a biotechnology company does is that it is basically raising a lot of money and researching in one direction. And if they successfully create a new molecule or new drug, then a pharma company will come and buy this from them or license this from them. They are not going to manufacture medicines and distribute and sell. Okay, so they will simply go and create a create a molecule or new technology, and then they license it, right? So you can see right now also, like, Pfizer and some that German vaccine for coronavirus, right? So there are two companies. Why are there two companies? One is a pharma company which has brought more resources, and one is a biotechnology. It's called BioNTech and something, right? BioNTech and Pfizer together, right? So this is what happens. There are drug companies, biotech companies which are doing deep research, and then later on pharma companies who commercialize them, right? So health tech is an example of a deep tech company. There are a lot of health tech companies which are not deep tech. They are simply taking existing technology. They don't even need any patent. Like, they have buying. I have invested in a health tech company. They don't have any patent, right? So they are just going and getting the software and the things from other places, and they are building a distribution here in India, right? So or they are building some business model around health tech. So there are many examples. So we are also a technology company, right? But we are not building any technology or R&D. We are building, our R&D goes into law, how to teach law, how to build a software that will help us to teach law better, or so on, right? So that is our focus area. So we are working in law, but we are not deep tech. We are a consumer tech company, consumer facing. Okay. Eventual commercial success. So let's go to the next one, right? We are correct. These companies can also have a formidable patent portfolio, but apart from that, they are also in the business of content and brands, which means that they also have a lot of copyright and trademark related work. Deep tech companies. Apart from giant platforms, consumer tech companies include companies selling hardware such as mobile phones, gaming consoles, right? So Apple is a consumer tech company selling technology to consumers. Samsung is a consumer tech company, right? So all of that. Now there are enterprise tech companies also. Microsoft, Adobe, Freshworks, Zoom primarily. There are people, consumers also using, but primarily Zoom makes its money from companies, schools, governments, Zoho, etc. As businesses, and Microsoft is a very good example of a enterprise tech company, because Microsoft Office is basically, they make money from companies which are using Microsoft Office, Microsoft Windows, and so on, right? Okay, so enterprise tech has done really, really well, because suddenly the whole world had to go online, and a lot of enterprise softwares are selling. For example, we have spent like many lakhs, like I think 5-6 lakhs we have already spent since the pandemic started on software for sales. Like, how do we manage our sales team, which is spread all over India? How do we manage our leads? How do we manage our schedules and so on, right? So you have to spend a lot of money on that. So enterprise tech is doing very well. Here are some common issues that tech companies need their lawyers to help them with. Okay, so there's a lot of work for IP lawyers with tech companies. There is some example. What are some of the IPs that should be registered and possibly monetized? Because tech companies need lawyers to advise them on this question, that okay, what all IP that we have that should be registered? Some IP should be registered, some cannot be registered, some should not be registered. What to do? Okay, what trademark to register, what patent to register, and then how can we monetize our existing IP? So we have so much copyright, trademark, software, designs. How can we monetize this existing IP? Okay, can there be certain business models? Can we franchise this out? Can we license this out? Okay, in licensing, out licensing, cross licensing, right? Then you have to advise on things like tax efficiency, enforceability, geographical, legal issues for monetizing of IP. Okay, what steps should be taken by the organization to effectively manage and develop the patent portfolio? How can our IP portfolio stay ahead of the competition, right? So imagine that I am building some software, or I'm building some hardware, and I want to make sure that we are better than the competition, right? But what is the competition doing in the first place? So lawyers are doing this research and advising. Okay, there are R&D teams on this. What technology can we in-license, out-license, cross-license? Do you understand in-license, out-license, cross-license? Or do I need to explain? If I have to explain, just write explain in the chat. Come on. I'll explain if you want. Write explain if I have to explain. Few lines, okay. So imagine that, just think of that. Imagine that I am Apple, okay, and I am making the most amazing phones in the world, right? Now, tomorrow there is a new startup which comes up with a new sensor for a phone, which can detect whether the guy has a fever or not. Imagine, right? So somebody created a sensor which can be put on the phone, which can sense if the user has fever or not. Okay, or so it will be very useful, right? So can Apple, now somebody got a patent on it, right? So then what Apple will do is that even when the provisional patent is filed, then Apple may think that why don't we buy this company? Why don't we invest in this startup? Maybe. Okay, maybe they'll think that, okay, maybe they're not willing to sell their company, but will they license this technology to us? Right? So they can say that, okay, Apple may tell the company that, look, we have all this technology. Some of it will license to you, and then you license something to us. So that is cross licensing. So 𝗵𝗵𝗀𝗲 actually took a class on this, right? You attended the session by 𝗵𝗵𝗀𝗲. So there it was cross licensing. There was a time when Apple and Apple and Google had a lot of cases with each other, right? They had filed a lot of patent infringement cases against each other. Then Steve Jobs, when he was brought back into Apple, he came and settled everything and signed a cross licensing agreement. So they licensed each other their technology so that they can do business in peace. Okay, so this is a very, very important thing. Apple and Microsoft, not Google, but Apple and Google also have done cross licensing later. Okay, so all these people can't. So when after that Apple and Microsoft deal, then other companies also did cross licensing to avoid this kind of patent litigation, which is useless for them, right? They want to focus on business and not do this. Where can our organization increase research and development investment to build an effective patent portfolio, right? So sure, we can spend a lot of money on science, on research and development, but where? Because there are so many directions in which we can research. So the lawyers actually were making a strategy along with the executives by looking at what technology is already there, what is going on. They do patent landscaping reports, and from that they can actually create good strategies. Okay, are there any competitors whose IP poses a threat to our business? This is also think like there are actually offensive and defensive patent portfolios. Okay, write this down: offensive and defensive patent portfolios. I don't want to explain, guys. It's 10:20. I want to finish the session, but remember this, okay, and look this up. Very, very important. When to engage in defensive publishing of our research. So I'll give you an example. Let's say both you and I are working on the same technology. Okay, maybe you are both creating a special vaccine for coronavirus, right? So coronavirus have completely different. If you see the vaccines that are there, none of them have the same technology. They are having different technology. Somebody is using one technology, somebody is using a brand new technology. There's a mRNA technology that German companies have used. Oxford have used a more traditional technology. So all these technology they're using, and they're coming up with innovative products that will be a good vaccine, right? And now what happens that if you and I are doing the same kind of technological research, and one of us will file it, right? So if I realize that you are ahead of us and we are probably behind, and you will file a patent before us, then before you are actually able to file a patent, I will want to publish my research so that you don't get the patent. Maybe you are one step ahead of me, right? And the moment you get the breakthrough, you're going to file the patent. And to prevent you from getting the patent, I will try to publish my research to stop you from getting the patent. Okay, this is called defensive publishing. When you realize that we are not ahead enough to get a patent, but somebody else might file a patent, then we want to stop them from our competitor from getting a patent, to spoil their business. At least we publish, then we can also, then everybody can sell. It will be open market, even we have a chance. Otherwise they file a patent, they'll get a monopoly over it, right? So that is very bad for us. Then we can't do anything with our research. So their defensive publishing is very common in patent. And this is also a strategy that lawyers are helping deep tech companies with. Should we invest in certain startups or pursue an M&A strategy in light of IP concerns, right? M&A strategy is like, we can invest in startups so that, we can get access to their technology later, or we might buy some companies or sell our company to somebody or do a merger with another company in light of IP concerns. Okay, that happens a lot in deep tech companies. Is just publishing enough? Yes, Hiral, publishing is enough. You won't get a patent, but the rule of patent is that if something is already there in the public domain as knowledge, then you cannot get a patent on that, right? So that you can prevent the other person sometimes from getting a patent by publishing something, so they have to cross a higher barrier. Now they have to create something more innovative than what is already published. Beyond that, so it gets harder to get the patent. Okay, are we going through? Are you doing enough to preserve the value of our IP portfolio? Who is infringing or abusing our IP? Who are the competitors who are infringing or abusing our IP? This is also important to know. Are we doing enough to protect our IP, or do we need to increase our budget? These are all budget questions, are also very important for in-house counsels in tech companies. Okay. What are the geographies where we should register our IP? Should we actually register our patent only in USA, or in USA and China and Japan and India, Europe? Where should we register our patent, right? How much should it cost? How long it will take? How to fight back against patent trolls? Deal with strategies like picket fencing. Okay, so I don't want to go into details right now of picket fencing. It's very interesting. You can read up on picket fencing in patents. How does this happen? How does patent trolls work, and how to stop patent trolls? Okay, very interesting stuff. What would be our IP enforcement strategy if a deep-pocketed competitor infringes? We have got the patent, but somebody, huge companies infringing our patent. It is very difficult to enforce, right? Because that company can go on and on fighting the court cases. Okay, what kind of enforcement cost? How much money will it cost us? How much time it will take us to enforce that patent? Okay, how should we respond to infringements, and how can we recover damages? Right, so somebody has infringed our patent. So can we get money from them? What do we have to do for that? So these are questions that you have to answer as a lawyer, in-house lawyer. Will our new product or brand end up violating somebody else's IP rights? So we want to launch a new product, we want to launch a new brand. Now, will this infringe on somebody's copyright, trademark, or patent? Because this is called a freedom to operate report. So you have to prepare a freedom to operate report so that you can actually do this. Have we properly optimized our patent or trademark registration strategy? In corporations based in USA, more than 50% of patents are abandoned after 10 years. Okay, so basically if you register a patent, it's for 20 years, but you get it for first 10 years, and after 10 years you have to pay a fee and renew. If you don't renew, the patent will lapse. 50% of the patents in the US, people who got patent after so much fighting, so much problem, they are not even renewing the patent. It means that patent is useless. It wasn't useful. Okay. Given the cost involved, question may arise as to whether such patents should have been pursued in the first place. So this is a failure of the in-house counsel. That why did they register this? Can we reduce spending on outside counsel by zeroing in on redundancies and establish an in-house patent and trademark prosecution practice? A lot of companies do it. Okay, bonus opportunity, biotech and pharma companies. Okay, so biotech and pharma companies are also another kind of deep tech company, and they have similar issues like deep tech companies. Okay, so the biotechnology industry in India is comprising of 800 companies, is valued at $11 billion, is growing at a compound annual growth rate of 20%. Okay, massive industry. Now, pharma has a similar situation, which too few boutique service providers catering to a giant industry, and no law firm successfully building a well-known pharma practice or biotechnology practice, despite the massive global rise of the Indian healthcare sector. and generic pharma companies, right? So all these companies need a lot of lawyers who are really have a good science background, importantly, engineering background, science background, and even if not science background, at least they should be able to understand the hugely difficult science involved in this inventions. And of course they have requirement for trademark and copyright also. Bonus opportunity, second, apart from biotechnology companies, there are 800 biotechnology companies. You should network with them and you can get work. Bonus opportunity to startups, because they are low-hanging fruits, and startups need a lot of IP related work support. Startups are resource hungry and often do not have the budget that they would need to get their work done by established lawyers, and that is an opportunity you must seize. There are startups which are funded, they have money, but a lot of small startups which do not have the money or resources. Startups need registration of IP. Many of them are stuck badly in different stages of IP prosecution, trying to register, objections, opposition, okay, simply did not follow up properly, did not submit the right information, often cannot afford legal help beyond a point, right? It is great if you can work with such startups on a pro bono or low bono basis at the beginning of your career, when you're building your portfolio and track record, right? Preparing for larger opportunities going forward. So I'll highly encourage all the young lawyers to work with startups and build your name first. Even if you're not getting paid anything, it's all right. The best thing is that you do not even have to be a law graduate. You can seek internships at such places as a law student or even an engineering student with some knowledge of patent laws and so on. Offer your help as a consultant, as a management consultant. If you can't present yourself as a legal consultant, you can always offer your services as a management consultant, right? And start helping entrepreneurs with their critical legal issues or management issues, right? Where can you learn all these work? So we have a course, guys. LawSikho.com has a course with Texas A&M University, okay, which is on IP prosecution. It covers US laws, it covers US patent and trademark office work, right? So I'm going to share the link here with all of you. One second. Shush. Right, here you go. You guys all have the access now. Okay. So if you are interested in this course, enrollments are currently open till tomorrow. Okay, classes have already started, but in case if you're interested, you can still join. We are taking a few more enrollments. We have received a lot of requests from many of you that we really want to do this course, and we have got a permission from the university to take a few more enrollments. So if somebody wants to join, you can still join, where you can learn all of this work. Okay, we'll be teaching all these different things. So I hope you enjoyed your session. I would love to know if you have any questions at this point, or how did you enjoy this session? Anupam Mandal, I am currently enrolled in one of the diploma course. It has been a month. Can I now shift to the IP course? You cannot shift to a course, Anupam. You're already doing a course. But if you want to join this course, we can put your other course on hold so that you can finish this, because it's a university certified course and it is more difficult, and we only have one batch. So you can, if you want to do it. Hiral, you have enrolled. Congratulations. It's a fantastic course, one of a kind course in the world. I'm sure you're going to love this. Congratulations. And if Anupam, you want to do it, let's have a chat. You can call me or you can call Harsh and have a chat. Okay. Thank you, Nita. Glad you liked the session. Thank you, Virendra. So what kind of sessions would you like me to take in the future? Do you have any questions? Anything you want me to address in the future that any questions you're dealing with? Anybody? What are your pain points, questions, anything? Great. Okay. Thank you, everyone. This was my last IP session. And from tomorrow, something else will happen. Tomorrow is December, new month. And Have a great new month, everyone, right? So this is the last month of this decade, by the way, right? A new decade starts from 2021, first day. So today is the last day of November. So you have 1 month left of this decade. Put it to a good use, and have a great time so that you can start your 2021 with full power and great enthusiasm, right? Oh yeah, I should share my Twitter handle with all of you. Just a second. So if you want to stay in touch with me, you have any questions, you want to privately want to reach out to me, please stay in touch. This is me this is my Twitter profile. You can follow me here, and you can stay in touch with me here, right? And you can even uh, request me to follow you back. Just tweet at me and say, please follow me back, and I'll follow you back in case I forget to follow you back. And yeah, you have any questions, you can send me direct messages on Twitter. Okay. Shivangi Das is saying, due to some issue, I joined the session late. Is there any possibilities I watch this session? Yes, you can. You can go to YouTube and you can see the session from the beginning. It's all there on YouTube. You can simply watch it there, Shivangi. Okay. Okay. All right. See you guys on Twitter, and see you tomorrow again, 9 o'clock. Have a great night, guys. Have a great night.